Godzilla fans, we are eating good these days with a handful of Godzilla figures. Whether you're collecting Playmates, Jada Toys, SH Monster Arts, or Hiya. So far, Hiya has dealt us one Godzilla from Godzilla X Kong, the pre-evolved Godzilla. Let's not waste any more time and dig into this review, and compare him to his 2019 counterpart. The box of what we got here is just basically what we expect of a Hiya action figure. Let's just say this. If it's not clouds, it's something like smoke, lightning, very simple with a bunch of different vibrant colors, which is very in line with basically what we've seen from Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire, and even actually, honestly, the first Godzilla vs. Kong was pretty well the same with the powdered dust right here. I think this box art, it's decent. It does the job. It's simple. You know, you go into an action figure store, you see this, and you know exactly what's in the box, and this is a really good picture, very vibrant. Here we are with the bottom, which basically makes use of lightning and purple and blue. Then we have the top, which is extremely smooth. And I'm not going to attempt to oversell the back. It's pretty well just a picture of Godzilla and the Godzilla X Kong New Empire logo with more clouds, once again, that are in very different vibrant colors. So that's pretty well, if you are new to collecting Hiya, and this is the first figure you're looking at buying, this is exactly what you can expect of any packaging of any Hiya Godzilla action figure or anything within the line. So this review is going to be pretty straightforward due to the fact that it's pretty well the same figure that I reviewed about a few months ago, which was the Godzilla 2019. It's the exact same sculpt. I want to go ahead and say that. We will bring in a comparison of the 2019 one, and I'll kind of give a breakdown of which one I prefer. But looking at this though, first of all, I do want to say this. This is a marvelous mold for this figure right here. Just take in all that texture with these close-up shots that we have, just all the way from the face, to the body, to the legs, to the tail. I can't really argue with what we have right here exactly. So you're not losing out as far as the actual mold goes. Some of the biggest differences that you will notice will be within the face. At first glance, I didn't notice the differences with the eyes, but they are very apparent once you actually get in really close and personal with this action figure. And when I looked at the jaw, I picked up on some differences that I didn't quite notice on the last variation of this Godzilla. So taking into detail of this Godzilla, this is probably one of the most marvelous Godzilla molds I've seen for the 2019 one, an example, and I can't wait to see what Hiya does in the future, because they're going to be visiting the 2014 Godzilla sometime soon. I don't know when that comes out, but I look forward to see what they can do versus what SH Monster Arts and NECA had done. And right here is a look at the body right here, that chest right here. I do want to come back and talk about this in a moment, because we're going to go ahead and talk about the paint apps in a moment, and this is where the big difference comes about. In the paint apps department, this figure pretty well just uses basically the grays. There's a few different highlights that you will see, especially when you take a look at the texture throughout the Godzilla. And of course on the spines, we have some whites that are in there, kind of in between the texture. But that's pretty well just all that it makes use of. So there's not a whole bunch of variety of color, but this is very accurate towards what we see of this variation of Godzilla in the film. So I'm going to run through the articulation. This will be handy, for example, if you are seeing this video first before the other one, the 2019 Godzilla. It's pretty well the same, but there is something new that I learned about this bad boy that I didn't even realize exists on this mold, but we'll talk about that last. So for the head, you have at least 4 different cuts right here. So you have a cut here, so 1, 2, 3, 4. The camera's probably not even picking up on it. It's very unnoticeable. This is one of the good things about Hiya that I do like. They know how to mask in a lot of the articulation. It's there, and of course the hit is you won't be able to do the articulation that SH Monster Arts can do, but I do like the fact that it's masked and you can't really see the seams all that well. So there is that. The bottom one will dictate most and the majority of your movement that you have for this Godzilla. Then after that you have the top one, you can get side to side. So then after that, move to the arms, you can swing out, in, in. That's nice. I like that. Really cool. Not a lot of restrictions, so you can just move and wiggle these arms all the way around. The one downfall, though, for the arms, though, is you do have just one single cut on the elbows. I do think they should consider doing double jointed for the elbows. We'll see if they do that exactly for the Godzilla, like the evolved form. I'd have to look at the pictures. I don't know if they did or not, but I don't recall based on memory. And then for the body, you do have an ab cut, which goes all the way around, but is restricted due to this one spine right here that doesn't have a lot of give. I suppose you could probably manipulate and move this. I'm not going to mess with it. It's just one of those things that does restrict that right there. The tail for this Godzilla isn't anything that's exactly bragging rights, if I'm honest. I'd like to see more range in the future, so this is one thing I'd like to say that Hiya could improve on. We do have quite a few cuts. It's not exactly on SH Monster Arts level, but the amount of cuts you have: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then goes all the way down here, 7, 8, 9. So there is no bendy wire, if that's something you're anticipating. So remember how I said early on in this video there was something that shocked me about this Godzilla? Well, guess what? I had no idea this figure has tongue articulation. It's very subtle, but it is there, so you can kind of see it sliding on around. Do be very careful with that, because I'm afraid to play around with it because I don't want to break his tongue off. But the fact that it exists is awesome, I want to be honest. So now the question: dirt or no dirt? 2024 off to the left, 2019 off to the right. Let's pull our 24 out of frame and kind of revisit the 2019 Godzilla. The implication I always got from this one is this Godzilla is supposed to be representing Godzilla after the battle with King Ghidorah, when he emerges from the dirt and the rubble. That's what I take from this one, because you have a lot of the detail of the dirt within the scales, the creases, all over the place. I always will say that I do wish they put more dirt right in between the spines. That's one thing that is kind of a miss on this figure, but nothing I'm complaining about. Bring this one back in, it's just a clean Godzilla, that's all it is. But if you look at things, you will notice that the body does pop a lot more, since you can see all that detail and there's nothing clouded within there. So that is something I do want to point out. Other differences with this is the pupil. Now, I didn't realize this at first glance, but I feel like that the 2024 one has more of a simplistic pupil, as to where the 2019 one tries to go with a little bit of that realism, because you can kind of see some gloss within the pupil, as if there's some light reflecting off the eyeball of Godzilla. Plus, if you look at those mouths and the tongues, you have more of a purple going on with the 2024 Godzilla. And then after that, the other one is more of that like fleshy red, orange, yellow kind of going on right there. Just a lot of different colors. But one thing this one does better in general, I do believe, is it's just that slick, just clean looking paint apps. No dirt, undisturbed Godzilla, just pure Godzilla, as if he just emerged from the ocean. Maybe not quite exactly, since it's not like glossy like he came out of the water, but he's been out for a bit. But that's basically my implication that I get with this one right here. And I don't want to say this one's better because it has the dirt. I like the dirt detail, I really do. But it's a matter of preference. I mean, do you like the novelty of the dirt in between the scales, or do you just want a clean Godzilla? If you want a clean Godzilla, you're going to want this one. Other areas of concern I do want to go ahead and point out on the 2019 one is I feel like the jaw is actually inferior versus the 2024 one, which tends to have a little bit more detail popping. Regardless of which Godzilla that you spend your money on, I don't know how available this one is. I'm sure it's still out there at various stores. I'll post any links I can find in the info section. But regardless of whichever one you get, you're getting a great Godzilla. The fact you're starting here with the Hiya Godzilla, you have a great mold. I always love the little texture that you have going on right here on the side right here. I just love this right here, this texture. And I like how it's just not the same texture all over. There's so much to look at on this mold of this Godzilla that you're always finding something new that just draws the eyes. I mean, there's a word I want to say, but I'm not going to say it. But basically, this Godzilla is just brilliant right here. Hiya did an amazing job. And from the get-go, this was always a great mold for this Godzilla. Well, everybody, that settles it for this review and this breakdown of this figure. There's not really a whole lot that I really want to add to this. If you have the 2019 Godzilla, there's nothing wrong with having that one. If you decide to set this one out, you're not missing anything. I believe this mold's been released a few different times. I didn't really check into what Hiya did for Godzilla vs. Kong, the 2021 Godzilla. It's probably the same. I don't know how different the paint apps are. I'm sure there's somebody else that has a comparison video. I can go ahead and leave a link to that if you do want to find a comparison between 2021 and 2024. But between 19 and 24, it's primarily just dirt or no dirt. So I mean, There's really nothing I'm gonna say, like, too negative about the other one. I mean, I do believe 24 does excel with the face, and more details pop. I'm still on the fence with whether or not I like the purple mouth or not. I believe it's painted better on this variation. However, I lean more towards the coloration of the other one more. But overall though, great figure. I highly recommend. But it's not one that you gotta go and get if you already have this, because I guarantee this mold's been released multiple times, and we are gonna see it once again in the future with another variation of Godzilla that's coming on out. And of course we have the evolved one, which everybody will want due to the fact that it's a brand new mold and it looks fantastic. That sums it up for this review. Are you going to buy? Do you like this one? Or are you just going to go ahead and settle with the 21 or 19 one because it's good enough? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Have a great day.